Hi everyone, welcome to i-tutor Academy. In today's session, we will start with Unit 5, Subsession 5 of MMPC 010, that is Price, Elasticity and Revenue. So we have defined demand to be elastic when the absolute value of price elasticity is greater than 1, and for that to be true, the percentage change in quantity must be greater than the percentage change in price. And if this were true, what would you expect to happen to a firm's receipt if the price were lowered? And recall from the principles of economics that total value revenue, that is TR, is equal to price, that is P, time quantity, that is Q. And considered an extreme case, suppose that 5% cut in price stimulates a 50% increase in sales, and you would expect revenue to rise, and the relatively small drop in price would be more than compensated for by a large increase in sales. To see exactly the relationship between total revenue and price elasticity, and let's return to the demand function given by the equation, that is Q. So here is the table. 5.2 is demand, price, elasticity and revenue, and here is price, here is quantity, total revenue, marginal revenue and point elasticity is here. Okay, so in this table, the total revenue and marginal revenue are included, as well as the point price elasticity. And marginal revenue is defined as the rate of change in total revenue or the additional revenue generated by selling one more unit. So here is an example. So Q is 400 and 4P is 400 minus Q, and so this is all based on equation. And the total revenue and marginal revenue function along with the demand curve are plotted in figure 5.1, and here is this is figure 5.1. Okay, so here is the illustrate the relation between fame's total revenue and the fame's demand curve. So this is the demand curve, and over the range between 0 to 200 unit, and the demand function is elastic. Over this same range, total revenue increase as price is reduced and quantity demand increase. Beyond 200 units, demand is inelastic and total revenue decrease as price is reduced and quantity demand increases. So this is that. Okay, so please refer from your study material also, it will more clear. And the price change will then we dominate one of two changes, and the revenue will change in the same direction as the price change. If however the elasticity exceeds the unit, the percentage change in quantity will exceed the percentage change in price, and the percentage change in quantity will be the more important change, so that the total expenditure will change in the opposite direction as the price change. So this result can summarize as follow: elastic demand, that is decreased price, increase total revenue, and increase price, that is decrease total revenue. And price and total revenue move in opposite direction, that is inelastic demand, decrease price, that is decrease total revenue, and increase price is increase total revenue. If a demand function has a unitary elasticity, then the same level of revenue will be generated regardless of price. So you see that for a linear demand function, as price falls, demand become less elastic or more inelastic. So you have also seen that when demand is elastic, price cuts are associated with the increase in total revenue. But if price continue to be lowered in the range in which demand is inelastic, total revenue will fall. Thus, total revenue will be maximized at the price at which the demand is unitary elastic. So in figure 1, that is the point is also where MR is equal to 0. So here is MR is equal to 0. Okay. In this figure, you can find out that. And this observation makes sense because marginal revenue is the slope of total revenue, and recall that any function may have maximum where its slope is 0. So for total revenue, we have here is the equation, and all is based on equation, and refer this. And because of the marginal revenue is 0, a price change would have no effect on the total revenue. And some analysts question the usefulness of elasticity estimates. They argue that elasticities are redundant such that the data necessary for their determination could be used to determine total revenue directly. And this managers could assess the effect of effect of a change in price without knowledge of price elasticity. Although this is true, elasticity estimates are valuable to the extent that they provide a quick way of evaluating pricing policies. An example, if demand is known to be elastic, it is also known that a price increase will reduce total revenue. Likewise, if the finance minister want to raise revenue through taxation, he knows that the increasing duties on cigarettes will most likely generate the result he desired. Okay, and this is an illustration and price elasticity demand a case study is here. Please refer your IGNOU study material MMPC 010 unit 5 and subsection 5. You will get this from this page, and please go through this case study so it will more clear. So this case study is based on Swiss American multinational cigarette and tobacco manufacturing company. Okay, and activity 2 is here, try to do it. And next section is determinants of price elasticity. So price elasticity can be estimated for many goods and services. Okay, in 5.3 estimate of price elasticity is here, good and services and estimate price elasticity. Okay, and the short run elasticities reflect period of time that are not long enough for the consumers to adjust completely change in price, and the long run values refers to situation where consumers have had more time to adjust. And note that variation in elasticity in table 5.3 and long run demand for foreign travel of US resident is elastic. Okay, so this is long run and short run also here. And in long run it's more for foreign travelers is long run, that is more elastic. Okay, availability of substitutes, the main determinant of elasticity is the availability of substitutes, and the product for which there are good substitutes tended to have higher price elasticity of demand than product for which there are few adequate substitutes. Okay, movies are a good example for that. And sources are also here, and please refer this. At the other extreme, consider the short run demand for elasticity. When real local supplier increase prices, consumer have few options, so there are not many short run alternative to using electricity for cooling and lightening. Hence the short run demand for electricity is relatively inelastic. So in the days of the license raj in India, when government was the monopoly provider, demand for telecom service was relatively inelastic, since there was no other service provider in the market. Proportion of income spent, demand tended to be inelastic for goods and services that account for only a small proportion of total expenditure. Consider the demand for salt, and 1 kg of salt will meet the need of typical household for a month and cost only few rupees. Okay, if the price of salt were to double, this change would not have significant effect of families purchasing power. As a result, the price change have little effect on the household demand for salt. So in contrast, the demand will tended to be more elastic for goods and services that required a substantial portion of the total expenditure. Okay. Time period, the demand is usually more elastic in the long run than in the short run. Okay, the explanation is that given more time, the consumer has more opportunity to adjust to change in prices. Okay, so in table 5.3 indicate that the long run elasticity for electricity is more than 10 times the short run value. Elasticity and decision making. Information about price elasticities can be extremely useful to managers as they contemplate pricing decision. If demand is inelastic at the current price, a price decrease will result in the decrease in total revenue. And alternatively, reducing the price of a product with the elastic demand would cause revenue to increase, and the effect on total revenue would be the reverse for a price increase. However, if demand is unitary elastic, price change will not change total revenue, and however, a price reduction is not always the correct strategy when demand is elastic. The decision must also take into account the impact of the fame's cost and profit. Okay, so here is another example. Please go to your study material. Okay, activity 3 is from this subsection. You can do it. And income elasticity on demand. So what is income elasticity on demand? The income elasticity of demand measures the responsiveness of sales to change in income. Ceteris paribus, it is defined as the percentage change in sales divided by the corresponding percentage change in income. The method used to calculate arc income elasticity, that is even, and the point income elasticity is small even, are follows. So this is the equation even and small letter even. And given the information on sale and income, the calculation of income elasticity is strictly analogous to the calculation of price elasticities. If the income elasticity of demand for a product is greater than 1, the product is said to be income elastic, and if it is less than 1, and the product is income inelastic. And for normal goods, the income elasticity is greater than 0, because with rising income, consumers will purchase a greater quantity of such goods. And ceteris paribus, and if the income elasticity of a commodity is negative, the good is an inferior goods, and that is, people will choose to purchase less of the product when their income increases. And example also here. Okay, so knowledge of income elasticity all also useful at different stages of a business cycle. During the period of expansion, fame selling luxury products such as exotic vacations or big cars find demand for their product will increase at a rate that is faster than the rate of growth of income. However, during an economic recession, demand may decrease rapidly for such product. So conversely, the sellers of necessities such as basic food will not profit much during period of economic prosperity, but will also find that their product are recession proof. Okay, so that is elasticity. And next subsessions we will discuss on next video. In between, any doubt, you can contact us anytime. For more MBA series, you just do like, share and subscribe our channel. Thank you so much.
i-tutor Academy presents IGNOU MBA Complete Syllabus Coverage Classes for individual students, semester-wise subject with online flexible timing. For more details, contact on +91 623 827 1885